Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski.
Two of the greatest rappers in history. Both were dead before the age of 30. Millions of records sold. Countless awards. A generation forever changed. What began as competition between two coasts quickly spiraled into one of the darkest chapters in music history.
Gats and stuff. Now honeys play me close like butter play toast. From the Mississippi Tupac, who shot me but your punks didn't finish. Now you're about to feel the weight.
Diss tracks became personal. Friendships turned into rivalries. And eventually, the violence left two of hip-hop's biggest legends dead. But the East Coast versus West Coast war wasn't simply about music. It was about pride, power, money, loyalty, and a media frenzy that pushed tensions to the breaking point.
Now you tell me who won.
This is the true story of the rap war that changed hip-hop forever. Welcome back to Beyond the Beat, where we uncover the untold stories behind hip-hop's biggest moments. Today, we're diving into one of the most controversial rivalries ever witnessed in music history. A conflict that reshaped the rap industry and forever altered the lives of everyone involved.
And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. Oh, you never thought that hip-hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight.
To understand how everything fell apart, we first have to go back to a time when there was no war at all. In the early 1990s, hip-hop was rapidly becoming one of America's most influential musical movements. New York City had long been considered the birthplace of rap, producing legendary artists who defined the genre. Meanwhile, the West Coast was building its own identity through a harder, street-inspired sound led by artists from Los Angeles. Despite regional differences, the two scenes respected each other. Artists frequently collaborated, appeared at the same events, and celebrated each other's success. Among the brightest stars were Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G. Although they represented different coasts,
got two rides, a limousine with the chauffeur. Phone bill about two.
They shared mutual respect. When they first met, Tupac admired Biggie's lyrical ability. Biggie respected Tupac's charisma and passion. The two spent time together, exchanged ideas, and even discussed future collaborations. At the time, few people could have imagined they would one day become symbols of one of music's most infamous feuds. Everything changed on November 30th, 1994.
Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like it's all good. And if you don't know, now
Tupac arrived at Quad Recording Studios in Manhattan, expecting to record music. Instead, several armed men confronted him inside the building. He was robbed of jewelry and cash before being shot multiple times. Against all odds, Tupac survived. The physical wounds eventually healed. The emotional scars never did. What troubled Tupac most wasn't simply the attack. It was who happened to be inside the building that night. The Notorious B.I.G. and Sean Puff Daddy Combs were recording upstairs, although neither man was charged, and both consistently denied any involvement or prior knowledge of the attack. Tupac became convinced they knew more than they admitted.
don't know, now you know, nigga. The opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner?
Whether his suspicions were justified remains one of hip-hop's greatest unanswered questions. But from that moment forward, trust disappeared. The friendship between Tupac and Biggie was over. While Tupac recovered, another rivalry was growing behind the scenes. Death Row Records, led by Suge Knight, had become the dominant force on the West Coast.
We ain't no motherfucking joke, dog. Like niggas better be known. We approaching up trying to be us. How the fuck they gonna be the mob when we always on our job? We millionaires.
Its artists were selling millions of records and redefining gangsta rap. On the East Coast, Bad Boy Records, founded by Sean Combs, was creating its own empire. With the Notorious B.I.G. as its biggest star, Bad Boy represented New York's resurgence.
You know very well who you are if you couldn't finish.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
The competition between the labels became increasingly intense. Every album release, every chart position, and every award was viewed as another battle in a growing war. The rivalry reached a national audience during the 1995 Source Awards. While accepting an award, Suge Knight publicly criticized Sean Combs, suggesting artists should avoid record executives who wanted to appear in their music videos.
Coppin' please these scenario, little Kim is you coked up or doped up. Little
Nigga, I hit him up. Check this out. You motherfuckers know what time it is. I don't even know why I'm on this train.
The audience immediately understood the target of his comments. The room erupted. That speech transformed a business rivalry into a public conflict. Fans across America began choosing sides. East Coast or West Coast. In 1995, Tupac was serving time in prison after a sexual abuse conviction, which he maintained was unjust.
Must miss us. Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne.
Suge Knight arranged to pay Tupac's bail in exchange for signing with Death Row Records. Once released, Tupac returned with renewed anger. His music became more aggressive. His interviews became more confrontational. He openly accused Biggie and Bad Boy Records of betrayal.
Pa, you never thought that hip-hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood.
The rivalry was no longer fueled by rumors. Now it was personal. Fans closely followed every interview, every concert, and every public appearance, searching for signs that the conflict was escalating.
I'm serving ya, spank the shake, your whole style when I gank. Guard your rank, cause I'm a
Tupac, who shot me, but your punks didn't finish. Now you're about to feel the weight.
Unfortunately, it was. In June 1996, Tupac released one of the most infamous diss tracks in hip-hop history, Hit 'Em Up. Within seconds, listeners realized this wasn't ordinary rap competition. Tupac launched direct attacks against the Notorious B.I.G., Bad Boy Records, and several artists associated with the label. The song was raw, emotional, and intensely personal.
And she loves to show me off, of course. Smiles every time my face is up in the spirit, the positive and the song. And if you
Its aggressive tone stunned both fans and the music industry. Although Biggie responded through interviews and later songs, he generally avoided matching Tupac's level of direct personal attacks. Still, by this point, the damage had already been done. The media amplified every insult. Magazine covers portrayed the conflict like a boxing match.
Young ass motherfuckers, no one of you niggas got sickle cell or something. You fucking with me, nigga, you fuck about Biggie. Then everybody had to open their mouth with a motherfucker opinion. Well, this how we gonna do it.
Television networks debated which coast was winning. The rivalry had become entertainment for millions. But behind the scenes, the tension was becoming dangerously real. On September 7, 1996, Tupac attended the Mike Tyson vs. Bruce Seldon boxing match in Las Vegas. Later that evening, after leaving the event with Suge Knight,
pull out seats to hear Biggie Small speak, living life without fear. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
their car stopped at a traffic light. A white Cadillac pulled alongside them. Gunfire erupted. Tupac was struck multiple times. He fought for his life in the hospital for 6 days before dying on September 13, 1996. He was only 25 years old. The world was shocked. Fans hoped the violence would finally come to an end. Instead, tragedy struck again.
Hey, motherfucker, I
I'm
hear
from any W jurors with plenty murders occurs. No point to think looting, shooting, and polluting your block with 15 shot, cock lock to your knot, outlaw.
Less than 6 months later, on March 9, 1997, the Notorious B.I.G. attended a music industry party in Los Angeles. As he left the event, another vehicle pulled alongside his SUV. Shots were fired. Biggie was hit several times. He died shortly afterward at just 24 years old. The murders of both Tupac and Biggie remain among the most infamous unsolved crimes in music history.
Only one, I'll give you some.
I made the change from me. I never thought it could happen, this rapping stuff. I was too used to pack.
Though investigators have pursued numerous leads and theories over the years. With both men gone, the East Coast versus West Coast war effectively came to an end. But the damage had already been done. Today, the East Coast versus West Coast rivalry is remembered as both one of hip-hop's greatest creative eras and one of its darkest tragedies. The music that emerged from this period continues to influence artists around the world.
Little move past the Mac and let me hit him in his back. Frank White need to get spare you nigga with the ready power. Tucking my gas under my Eddie Bauer. Your clout petty sour.
Yet the feud serves as a reminder of how pride, misinformation, business competition, and media sensationalism can turn conflict into catastrophe. Many artists who once found themselves caught in the rivalry have since spoken about the need for unity within hip-hop.
Must missed us. Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne.
The legacies of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G now stand for much more than a feud. They represent extraordinary talent, unmatched influence, and unrealized potential. One question still lingers decades later. What heights could hip-hop have reached if both legends had lived?
The Raw G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski.
The East Coast versus West Coast war gave the world unforgettable music, but it also left behind one of the greatest what-if stories in entertainment history. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe to Beyond the Beat, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into hip-hop's most iconic stories. Until next time, keep the music alive, and remember the lessons history has already taught us.